Finding Calm in the Chaos. I am Denise Sith, and this is my podcast. Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to another episode of Finding Calm in the Chaos. I'm Denise. Welcome. If it's your first time listening, I have a ton of new listeners, so, thanks Apple Podcast. I don't know, whatever. I don't complain. I'm blessed. I do want to make a announcement this morning before people listen that I am going to talk about sensitive material that might trigger certain individuals because I will be talking about my personal childhood trauma today. Nothing like major. I'm not going into details, but I just want you guys to know that if you are triggered by that information, probably shouldn't even be listening. However, like I said, I'm not going to go into details. I'll just state why I was traumatized. And the whole point of this episode is that I have really come to the conclusion as I've been decluttering and looking and finding old pictures and stuff that I have very little memory of things that have happened in my past. Like very little. And it bothers me. So I started digging into it a little bit and I'm like, oh, well, of course it's going to trace back to my childhood trauma. Like everything traces back. So if there's anything that you can do, this is why I'm working so hard to make sure that I am addressing and parenting Peter and being in a marriage in a more healthy way. It's super important to me that I am in a healthy marriage and I am a healthy parent towards Peter. And I didn't start out that way, but it's never too late to do work. And I feel for me, it's a work in progress. It's never going to stop. I always want to be a little bit better. But as I'm looking at some of these pictures, like I don't even recall like what, well, I don't even know. I don't remember that. I remember little bits and pieces of stuff. So like if I think back to any particular situation, I can't really place a time on it. Like how old I was. I got like a kind of a sketchy idea of it. And one of the things that I had read about was that traumatic events in general, natural disasters like car accidents, you lost someone in your family, a loved one, traumatic experiences in general, okay, can lead to memory loss, okay? And that includes childhood trauma, which can include sexual abuse, neglect, witnessing violence, being, verbally or physically abused, all of those things. Now, I am the adult child of an alcoholic. He does not drink, but he's also in a state of like decline. He has like dementia. He can barely walk now without tripping over his old shoes. And it is what it is, right? I mean, I feel like that's kind of like the bed you made. You didn't make care of yourself. You didn't take care of yourself as an adult when you were younger. And he's pretty much not doing the same now. However, he does not drink in my house or around me. And I'm not aware that he drinks at home, but that's totally a moot point at this point. He drank when he raised me. And I feel like although my mother wasn't abusive, she watched that behavior happen and allowed it to happen. And so, like I said, I'm not mad at either one of my parents at this point. I'm going to be 55 years old this year. I'm over like any kind of blame game. They did what they could amongst themselves and with the best knowledge that they got from their jacked up parents. And you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like you get what you get. Why am I working on some things as a parent? Because I'm just leading by the bad example I had. Now, I don't want that. I want this. Like, this is what I would have wanted when I was a kid. So I'm trying to, realign how I act and behave towards Peter so that he could get those things that I didn't get. Is it going to be perfect? Nope, because nobody's perfect. It is what it is. But I will tell you that this memory thing is really just, it's agitating. And it's interesting because I remember things vividly in certain instances, and now I'm questioning whether or not they are real or if I just made it up. Let me explain to you why. Because I had so much deception and lying going on in my family. My entire family, immediate and extended family, especially on my dad's side, are complete fabricators. They will, and when I say they, I also fell into this mesh of just what they did. I almost felt at one point especially in grammar school, that I made up this illusion or delusion of this scenario of how I was going to live and who I was going to be, especially in high school, so that I could live, like get through what was going on at home. That's very conducive to a lot of kids that grow up. Just like a lot of people will say that I was a bully in school. I wasn't a bully. I felt like I was like, I almost said justice warrior, but like, not a social justice warrior. I can't believe I was going to say that. But I was in the definition, in that I didn't take any crap from anybody. I was getting, slapped around at home. There was no effing way that I was going to school and have somebody push me around. That wasn't happening. But it did happen in grammar school. So in high school, I decided I was just going to be who I was going to be, and that was it. And whether or not it was real or not, I made it real so that I could create this reality for me where I felt some safety. And it's interesting because now that I look back at it, I'm not really sure what was real and what wasn't real. And it bothers me. And also I don't like that I have zero pictures. I have pictures, but they're always of me like in the background. I'm always in like a really unflattering position, or somebody took a picture of me like having a conversation and my mouth's half open, or you know what I mean? Or I'm bending down to pick something up. True story on that one. I'm like, what? Woo. But I don't even really have any pictures of me relative to things that I did. And then I looked back and I realized and thought, memory wise, I had very few friends as well. Like I had some steadfast friends, some who I still talk to today, but I really never had a close relationship with anybody. I didn't have a bestie. Okay. For lack of a better term, I didn't have a bestie, no BFFs. Okay. And if I did feel like I, in my mind, had a BFF, I could probably now, looking back at it, confidently state that other person didn't feel that way at all. Because I was so isolated. And a lot of that was self isolation, because the less I got to bring people home, the more I could hide my situation. You know what I'm saying? And so the fact that I can't remember a lot of this stuff, I don't really think I start remembering stuff until college. I was a little clearer. I was out of the house. But then that's when the anger really kicks in, which also, if you're unaware or haven't listened to any of my podcasts before, I suffer from postpartum anger disorder, but I also had anger issues prior, which are reminiscent and come hand in hand with childhood trauma. So as an adult child of an alcoholic, I did receive both physical and verbal abuse. It was what it's like, I don't feel like people should have to deal with that, but It was what I was dealt, and you dealt with it. Simple as that. But there's so much, you can't even get straight answers out of people in my family. Like if you ask somebody something, it's like a fucking story. And then I thought, wait, I do that too. That we can't just answer. It has to be a story. Probably why I started a podcast, so I could just talk to myself. But then I'm realizing that I did create these stories to survive. And so I wonder, like, if this emotional memory loss was indeed my natural way to protect myself from psychological damage. I mean, I'm not that psychologically damaged. Seriously. But I feel like it could always be worse. I just put that out there. There are people who have had severe psychological situations as a result of childhood trauma. And so I feel like I'm fortunate in a way that that was it. But then I thought, I feel like some of this carried over into my 20s and 30s. And then I started reading about how traumatic events can also cause memory loss, right? So we talked about natural disasters, car accidents, something that happened to a loved one. These are all things that happened. So I got out of my house from the childhood trauma of witnessing physical abuse and verbal abuse, and then plus being the recipient of it. But then when I got out of that, then I kind of fell into what happened then. Well, I had two major car accidents. We're talking major, like my cars were demolished by other people, not my fault. And I was lucky to be alive. I just like skinned those over. I was like, whatever. Yeah, I literally just skidded off an on ramp. My car went upside down. It hit a divider and it cracked down through the center of my car. And I laid in a ditch in like 4 feet, 5 feet of snow. And they had to come and get me out of the car. And the only safe place to be was where I was. My car my seat gave way. So my seatbelt stayed on, but my seat gave way, meaning it dropped back. And had it not dropped back, my A-frame on the driver's side had cracked down into the car. So had my seat not dropped back, it would have went through my head and I wouldn't be here today. But I just like blew that car off. I was like, oh yeah, I'm just like pick up my shit and out of the trunk and, whatever. People were at the ER. I was in the ER and my friend's out in the waiting room because she was following me in her car. We were traveling from Illinois to Minnesota. And so I remember her saying, oh my gosh, like the state police are here. And he came up and talked to me like you were deceased. And I'm like, wow, is the car that bad? She's like, no, it is. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right, sure. And then I saw a picture of it and I was like, wait, what? But then I'm like, where are those pictures? I don't know. Do I need them? Like, why do I need that kind of picture? You know what I'm saying? But like so then I got like, I feel like that was traumatic, but then I got another car accident, but then I got a terminal cancer and I had to leave everything I knew to go to another state to get treatment. And then I got it again. Then I had to leave the country to get treatment. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like repetitively, I feel like every 10 years, something's going on in my life, every 5 to 10 years. And I'm done with the excitement of trauma. I'm done with it. I'm like, no wonder I don't have any like memories. People be like, remember in high school when we all went over to so-and-so's house? And I'm like, nope, I don't even know who that person is. If you showed me a picture, maybe I'd be like, yeah, they look familiar. But I have no distinct memories. I have no distinct memories of us going to beaches as kids, even though I know we did. I have no distinct memories of doing stuff fun with my family. Maybe we didn't. I don't know. I have memories of my cousins, but in bits and pieces of stuff. And then here's the best part. I thought, I don't have any of these memories, so that's bad enough. But then if I have conversations with family members that I still talk to, because I have had family members, like extended family members, bring stuff up to me, and I'm just like, that is a complete fabrication because that doesn't even make sense. But in their lives, it's a truth that they've created because of their childhood trauma. Do you know what I'm saying? So this perpetuation of trauma and people just creating lives to live through it. But I thought to myself, how much is real and how much is not? And that's why it's super important for me. I know we little story about just remembering pictures are important to me. And one thing I don't do is a lot of people around me about like, oh, you're always taking pictures for Facebook. And but in reality, I'm not. I'm taking pictures to remember a moment to trigger my memory. I am 150% convinced that my obsession with taking pictures, and I won't just like randomly take pictures. But here's the thing, when I don't take pictures because I feel embarrassed or that somebody's going to say something to me, I regret it later. So I have very few pictures with friends. Very few. My friends all have tons of pictures with their friends when they go out, but there are very few pictures of me with friends. And I started to analyze that and dig at it a little bit. And I realized, I wonder if it's because I feel like it will create a memory for me in that my feelings and what I had put forth in that friendship was way more than that person had in me. Because that's the history for me. But then I thought, I have tons of people I would love to have pictures with, but I freaking don't. Why? Like, I know Michelle listens. Michelle, we have to take pictures, okay? We have no pictures. I have one picture from us from like literally a long time ago. But we need pictures, Michelle. We need pictures, Trish. We need pictures, Denise. Not me, Denise, my friend Denise. That would be weird. You know what I'm saying? I have some pictures with Christy, but she lives in another state. So there's that. And then when I meet Esther and Leslie, we're taking pictures, dang it. I want pictures. And that's why it's important for me. But a little story behind pictures, because now that I'm digging this apart, what I'm trying to do is like figure out why I got either emotionally connected or upset about something that everybody discounted. So when Peter got baptized, it was all rushed. I didn't have a professional photographer. Most people are usually late. You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is. So we went, had him baptized, and went through it all. I'm sure it was flaring and it was miserable and all of that. But Godmother took tons of pictures. I wanted to take pictures with just basically the grandparents, a picture, like normally people do for a baptism. Okay. I don't think it's too much to ask for. Every time I see online somebody gets baptized, they have the pictures I wanted. Grandparents, me and daddy, godparents, us and godparents. You know what I'm saying? And everybody was rushing to get out. And I don't remember why people were rushing, but it was specifically my mother-in-law. And at the time, we don't have a great relationship now, but it's amicable. Amicable. Yeah, I think that's the word. It's friendly. But it wasn't really always that way. So she rushed out, and then my parents rushed out, and then everybody left. And then I'm like, wait a minute, who the hell's going to take pictures of us? And like, now I have no pictures. And I was upset. And so I went out to the car and I had mentioned it to my husband, and we were buckling Pete in or whatnot. And then his mom was with us. So she's in the back seat. And I remember being really upset and telling telling Mr. Sith, I simply just wanted pictures of us. I don't think that's asking too much. And from the back seat, she said, "You don't need pictures. You have your memories." Oh, man. I went into DEF CON 1. I'm not even going to lie. And I was like, because this is like 8 years ago. But I was like, are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? First off, like, who are you to tell me what I can do with my kid during a baptism that I just paid for? Like, I don't understand that shit. Everybody's going to dictate what I do. And then they get all upset when I say stuff about it. And I really give zero shits about that right now. I'm going to be super honest with you. I would have approached it differently. I actually would have walked right back into the church with my husband and even had the person, a priest or anybody, take pictures of us and like pretty much screw everybody else. But I was not in the frame of mind to do that. I was either kind of a feast or famine mindset that I was in. And I didn't get them and everybody left. So I figured like it was like a tragedy to me at the time. And I still look back at memories of everybody. And I'm going to add something to the end of this, but I have pictures. I'm going to preface it with this. I have pictures that come up on memories of everyone with Peter, but not one person that got all those pictures taken with Peter thought to even ask me, do you guys have pictures with Peter? Because there are no pictures of me and Mr. Sith with Peter for his baptism. And it's infuriating. I mean, I'm not like flipping out like I did, but it's disappointing. And that is also part of the deal. I used to throw these elaborate parties and get togethers, and I always go above and beyond, and I always have way more food than I think I need and all that kind of stuff. But no one really appreciates it. They're not there for the occasion. They're there for what they're getting for free. Sorry, not sorry that I said that. Which is why I made the decision last year that it was going to be my last Christmas. I'm not hosting events anymore for my family. It's traumatic. There's drama. No one appreciates. And it's never about the holiday. It's sort of like how much we can run in, get a bunch of shit that we don't have to do, and run out. And it's quite traumatic for me because I plan for weeks sometimes for some of this stuff. And so it's not worth it, which is interesting because I had made it super clear. Oh, by the way, so Babka, Mr. Sith's mom, never showed up for Christmas. Something happened, whatever it was. I don't know. She was sick, but yet she had car trouble. I don't know. I think she was trying to cover all her bases. You know what I'm saying? But Mr. Sith just went to her house a couple weeks ago, within the last 2 weeks, because I needed to get her Christmas presents out of my office. Not even just a consideration that people purchase things for her because we love her. That's the kind of stuff I'm done with. And so I told them no more holidays. Like all the holidays we do are going to just be us. So what do you think happened? What do you think happened? Oh, just so you know, I'm not doing any kind of endorsement today. I'm just rambling on because we don't have time. I'll tell you what happened is that Easter's coming up and I was like, we're doing nothing for Easter. Like we're going to go have dinner somewhere. And then Babka called my husband, Mr. Sith, her son, and was just like, yeah, I'm going to come for Easter. Okay, I'm sorry. Am I, for the people in the back who are having trouble hearing me, I'm not hosting any more holidays. Hello? Can you hear me? And so Mr. Sith, who cannot say no to anyone in his family, even though some of them are complete assholes, because he's just that kind of guy. He's super nice. Okay. He goes, oh, and my mom said that she was coming for Easter. And I'm like, I'm not cooking for Easter. Like, wait a minute. I thought we were going to make reservations at the country club. Like, I'm done. I'm like, wait, what? Like the audacity. Not, hey, are you hosting? No, I'm sorry. I'm not making a freaking like butterflied lamb on the grill. I'm not doing lamb chops this year. I'm not doing lamb chops with it's like I make elaborate stuff, okay? I made a lemon cake one year and melted down gumdrops in mini cupcake things to shape them like flowers. Not even joking. I wish I was. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, no. So then I said, well, shit, if she can come here, but like, I guess now we're taking her to dinner. I mean, how fucking rude, right? Again, no endorsements, so I can throw the F bomb. But I was just like, this is the stuff I told Mr. Sith. We have to put our foot down. I'm not hosting any more parties. Like, I may have people over for Peter's birthdays, but that's it. That's it. I'm not hosting holidays anymore unless it's for us. That does not include your mother, my parents, my sisters, your sisters, nobody. It's just that, like me, you, the kid, and the dogs. That's what we're doing, unless there are extraneous circumstances. But I'm not going out of my way to do all of this shit anymore. Next year or this year, Christmas, people are getting gift cards and they're going to be super disappointed because I'm not doing it anymore. They're all older anyway. They bitch about what they get. They don't, I mean, they're appreciative. But like, what do you get teenagers? People, I mean, the girls, the two oldest nieces, they're like they're going to be over 19 and 20 this year. Well, dude, here's a gift card. Knock yourself out. You're an adult now. Like, buy stuff for, your nephew or, that kind of stuff. You don't need to buy nothing for me. It's just not worth it anymore. And we're trying to decrease, hence the decluttering of the house, so that we can actually make more experiences or just fix up our house and make it our home, like truly our home, like what we want it to be wholeheartedly. And it's just interesting that like I pedaled way to the side on that one there. So let me reel myself back. But it all boils down to memories. I want to include, I feel like I can get a much better grip on memories and understanding what's going on now and retaining those, our trip to Europe last year. I remember everything from that. And that's because it was a pleasant experience that did not cause me trauma. Now, I had some days I flared up and whatnot, but, it was at least a positive experience. So I'm finding that in those instances where I created the memory with Mr. Sith or Peter or both, that I'm remembering those memories. I remember the things I do with the friends now that are creating positive memories. But don't come in here and tell me that we did something or I did something and it was 25 years ago, because number one, don't throw something in my face that like was 25 years ago. Like we're not even, neither one of us should be that same person. But also we shouldn't ever have to bring up the past unless we're literally gallivanting over memories that were happy. And since I don't remember anything, I can't do that. So I feel like I've kind of been stripped of that. It's funny, but it's not funny. You know what I'm saying? So my voice is totally, I'm going to lose my voice. I've been recording all day, different podcasts and doing other stuff. So I'm like completely losing my voice, but that's just it. I mean, there's an International Society for Traumatic Stress Studies. Okay. It is a real thing. It's from that, the International Society for Traumatic Stress Studies. And they believe that recovered memories, including recovered memories of childhood trauma, are not always accurate. Because when people remember childhood trauma and later say their memory was wrong, there is no way to know which memory was accurate. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you don't know. And that sometimes includes the trauma itself. I sometimes will get flashes of things and be like, did that really happen? Because that seems pretty intense. Or something super happy. And I'm like, did that really happen? Or did I fabricate that? I don't know. So I've decided to just be like, well, I'll just create new memories with my family and walk forward and do it that way. And friends, that's all I can do. So my advice to you guys, or just, things that anything that I do or talk about, is me letting other people like yourself know that you're not alone if you're going through these things. And that it's okay to try to find joy in every day. But if you can't, that's okay. Because not every day has to be filled with joy. But every day should be filled with feeling blessed because you woke up that morning. And a lot of people didn't even get that option. So that's where I'm at. I love you guys all. I will see you not see you, but we'll talk next week, Wednesday. Oh my gosh, we're in April already. Oh, we had Easter. It's just crazy. Happy Easter, everybody, if you celebrate that. And I'll talk to you next Wednesday. Talk to you later. Until then, lead with kindness.